Midnight Children represent the attempt to change country by Rushdie, the author, and Salim. Each character symbolizes the country in different aspects. The story begins with Salim's grandfather, Adam Aziz in Kashmir. The name Adam resembles to Adam in Genesis. Rushdie used the biblical tale to write the history with his own narrative.
Salim, the main character himself, is the representative of India. He was born on Independence Day, which was the start of his life in India. During his childhood, India was peaceful as his life was. India was one of the most important to Britain as the territory of empire. When the British arrived in India in the 17th, they think India was highly populated and India was state with governments that were just as complex as Britain. As a result, Britain could not march in and take over. British rule developed through a combination of military force and alliance with Indian rulers. The system of governments was instituted in 1858 and lasted until the end of 1947 when India had achieved independence. In most of the 19th century, India was ruled by the British. Indian nationals had no voice in central government and their influence on decision-making was minimal. The Indian independence first movement started at the beginning of the 20th century, which was the same time as the end of World War I. One reason why the British were reluctant to leave India was that they feared India would erupt into civil war between Muslims and Hindus. The country was deeply divided along religious lines. In 1947, the British withdrew from the area, and it was partitioned into two independent countries. India, mostly Hindu, and Pakistan, mostly Muslim. Around 2 million people fled from their homes to areas of Pakistan or India, where they would not be a minority. Violence continued for some time after final partition, and there were disputes over territory between the two newly created countries. Jawaharlal Nehru went on to become the first Prime Minister of India and a key force in making the country a stable democratic state. Indian people started to fight for independence when the colonization of Europe came to India. They came initially to India as a merchant. When time passed, they tried to regulate all of Indian enterprise. England is the one who occupied most of India, while Portugal and France occupied just only some part. The demanding of Indian independence began, having a campaign to educate and arouse for nationalism of India by Mohandas Gandhi. He used the method of non-violence to fight with the leader of England. He spent more than 50 years in active public service and understood the need for legal safeguards to protect fundamental rights. Gandhi leads all India to protest peacefully in 1922 and also to oppose the law for collecting tax of salt in 1930. In 1942, having a massive protest demonstration to lead England release India to be freedom, which many people were dead from this demonstration. Because of this situation, forced England to give up all the administrative power back to India on August 15, 1947.
The specific scene in the movie when Salim was punished by his teacher and his hair was pulled out made audience question themselves how teachers in India teach their students. The punishment in Indian school is very violent. Most of Indian schools still use corporal punishment as the physical or mental harassment, though it is illegal. There was news that showed how the violence of punishment in Indian school was. According to the news reported by Menaka Rahman, 3 students decided to suicide because of severe beating from teacher. Some experts believe that corporal punishment is the way that can make students obey their teacher. The reason that teachers punish students is wanting them to intend to study. Instead of beating, teachers should have other ways to teach their students, such as having rules regarding good behavior and so on.
Unfortunately, there was the principle of delicacy that excluded the corporal punishment for our children under the age of 7 because they are too young and they still be innocent.
The turning point of the story was when the Midnight children began to fall apart. That was because the difference in classes, religions, and cultures. The majority of population in India is Hinduism with 80.5%. The Vedic culture formed in India between 2000 and 1500 BC. Accordingly, Hinduism is the offspring of the Vedic religion and profound impact on the Indian history, philosophies, and cultures. The name India came from Greek of Indus and the Old Persian word Hindu. Another popular name of Hindu is Hindustan, which means land of Hindus. The Hindu nationalism is aggressive by right-wing Hindu-like. In 1947, partition of India rose to bloody looting and indiscriminate intercommunal killing of Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs. In 7.5 million Muslims were forced and left for West Pakistan and East Pakistan, and 7.2 million Hindus moved to India. This was a significant factor in fueling Hindu-Muslim enmity. The last of 60 years have been peaceful in parts of the country, with the remarkable exception of communal disorder in 1992 and 2002, and the wars for Pakistan. Islam is the largest religion of the Islamic Republic in Pakistan, which is only second in Indonesia to the size of Muslim population. Pakistan is called a global center of political Islam. The majority of Pakistan, around 190 million people, are Muslim, whereas the remaining 3 to 5% are Christians, Hindus, and others.
Salem and Shiva are obvious examples of the gaps between the rich and the poor. The gap exists such as education, income, lifestyle, housing requirements, and food needs. Because poverty imposes an oppressive weight on India, especially in the upcountry area where almost 3 out of 4 Indians and 77% of the Indian poor live. This disparity has only increased over the years. The rich has become richer and the poor has become poorer. India has been the great economic development and industrialization, but it has served to benefit only the business ownership. The study employed have not been able to rise above the middle class. The reduction of poverty has been a major concern of the government of India since independence in 1947.
When talking about hierarchy in India, one must include social grouping referred to as caste. Within Indian culture, whether in the north or the south, Hindu or Muslim, urban or village, virtually all things, people and groups of people are ranked according to various essential qualities. If one is attuned to the theme of hierarchy in India, one can discern it everywhere. Although India is a political democracy, in daily life there is little advocacy of or adherence to notions of equality. India's caste system can be divided into 4 castes. It depends on personality, profession, and birth. In descending order, the castes are: first, Brahmana consists of those engaged in scriptural education and teaching, essential for the continuation and knowledge. Second, Kshatriya take on all forms of public service, including administration, maintenance of law and order, and defense. Third, Vaishya engage in commercial activity as businessmen. The last one, Sud, work as semi-skilled and unskilled laborers. The caste system causes unfairness and inequality in society.
Commander Sabarmati and Laila gave us a clue about Indian marriage. Like after marriage and having an affair, Indian marriage is an important event in family wedding ceremony, has different decoration color, music, dance, costume, and ritual, depend on religion.
People still believe in Muhurat, auspicious days and time, for the wedding is decided based on horoscope for the groom. Making family is to expiate sin and require the God. The groom will be regarded as Vishnu, and India bride is like a goddess, Lakshmi, a gift from God. The most popular dress is sari or a lehenga, decorated with gold and silver needlework. The groom will have headdress with the flower, which is believed that it will protect the groom from the bad things. In their pre-wedding is haldi. Haldi is bathing with turmeric, haldi, oil and water, to both the bride and groom by the marriage woman. After that, Mehendi ceremony is to paint the bride's hand and feet in pattern by application of henna. The spouse will exchange the garland to each other. They walk around the bonfire for 7 rounds with a prayer. Each of the sangha means a symbol of sealing of reconciliation. They have to go north for 7 steps. While walking, they are praying about 7 things, which are food, health, wealth, happiness, fertility, species, plant and animals, and dedication. When finished, the bride will be sprinkled with holy water to wash out the sin in the past for preparing to live in the day ahead. Indian wedding ceremony ends with the celebration of the night, filled with joy and dancing. However, having an affair is also not acceptable in India. In the story, when Commander Sabarmati knew that Laila, his wife, and Homi Khatrak having an affair, he shot them both. According to law in India, people who know that the woman who already married but have a sexual intercourse without permission of her husband shall be punished in the conviction for adultery. The punishment is imprisoned 5 years, or with fine, or with both. For the woman, she will not be punished, but will be defined as an abettor. Midnight Children is one of the novels that everyone should read. After I have finished reading it, now I can understand why it has won the Best of Booker Award in 1981.
First of all, we learn Indian history through the main character. The book contains so many post-colonialism tragedy, religion division between Hindu and Muslim, linguistic battle, the tragedy of partition, and the painful birth of Bangladesh.